Welcome
Cool.
to Let's Be Frank. Um, so something that popped into my head, Herman, this was the idea that you wanted to talk about, but um, it was about things you wish you had learned when you were younger, or things you wish you taught your children when they were younger. Um, and I thought of the song by Crosby, Stills, Nash, and I don't know if Young was part of it. Crosby, Stills, and Nash, the Teach Your
Yeah.
Children Well. It popped into my head, so
Yes.
I went and listened to it and looked at the lyrics. But yeah, I thought that that was quite a nice name or theme for the episode, was Teach Your Children Well.
And is there a lesson in the lyrics?
Well, it's actually very similar in theme to Philip Larkin, This Be the Verse,
Okay.
kind of um kind of that we pass things on to our children,
Hmm.
and you want to teach them well. You that your intention is always that you want to raise your children well, but sometimes you pass a few things on to them that are not great for
Yes.
them. um but I also just wanted to start this by saying I'm actually really privileged and really grateful for some of the lessons that my parents taught me. So one of the things is dealing with money. um they've always kind of taught me the value of money and of saving when you're younger. So from the moment I started getting a salary, I started putting money towards an investment or a savings account. So I never spent the full amount of my salary from the moment I started getting one. I always was putting a little bit away. And that's been a habit that I've had throughout my life now, and has really set me up so that when there are these kind of rainy days, or when a company doesn't pay me on time,
Yeah.
that I do have something to keep me going. So that is one of the things that I'm very grateful to my parents for teaching me. I think there was something else. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say was the games that we played when I was younger, I think set me up for my future, my career, because I'm really into words and writing, and that's where my career led me, was to sort of writing and then eventually marketing. But my favorite board game growing up was Boulder Dash. I don't know if you ever played
Okay.
it.
No, I can't recall playing it. No.
So it was basically words that are really weird, or words that you don't use very often, and their definition on the back of the card. And
Hmm.
everyone had to come up with a definition for the word. So it was like kind of quite imaginative. And then people had to guess which was the true definition of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
word. Um, so that was one of my favorite games growing up. And then Scrabble, I've always loved Scrabble. We used to play Scrabble a lot on holiday. So I think words has been a part of my life from when I was very young, and probably led me to where I am.
Okay. Well, that's cool. You start off with
The
kind of the
positives.
things that, yeah, things that you can. So obviously, one of the things that's really high on my list is finance. And I think, for me, it's about more than the discipline of saving.
Yeah.
It is a better understanding of what is the difference between saving and investing. It is um, understanding more about finance outside of the context of you have to work for a salary and then how you spend it, etc. Because I think, just in terms of what I've learned just in the last, I don't know, 3, 4 years, in terms of finance and money, and how does it all fit together, um, is really something which I feel like I could have benefited from if I understood it at an earlier age. Um, and obviously, the other very, very important, and we've spoken about this before, is taxes,
Yeah.
because you grow up learning that well, taxes is just a part of life, and you have to pay your taxes, and that is true. But again, we're not taught anything about um, the mechanics of taxes.
Yeah. What you're getting in return.
Well, not just that, there are all these different taxes, and kind of looking actively for where you can save on taxes and so
Hmm.
on, and what effect that has on your savings or investments, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So for me, I kind of put all of that in the finance bucket, um, which is definitely something which, beyond that, you must save. You must save money, and you must make sure that you have money available for a rainy day.
Mm.
Um, you know, there's for me, there's a hell of a lot more that I think I could have, and certainly my children could have benefited from if
Yeah.
I had taught them. Um, yeah. So, what else have you got? I actually put something on at number one on my list, and that is curiosity.
Hmm.
I don't think that. Do you feel that you were brought up with enough of a sense of curiosity instilled in you? Or do you, not just you specific, do you
Yeah.
think people are generally, or do we kind of go into the machine of school
Yeah.
and, kind of boxed in? Um, don't question this, don't think about that. Work hard,
Yeah.
get good grades. I don't know. I feel that there's a hell of a lot more to um, make your children aware of
Yeah.
and foster the sense of curiosity. Because curiosity, I can't remember who said it, but I found it quite impactful that said that curiosity is the cure for boredom.
Yeah.
I think if more people were curious about more things, they would lead more fulfilling lives, potentially explore um, different career paths. And even if you're already an adult and you have a career, are you still curious enough
Yeah.
to to learn about, etc., etc.?
That's really interesting. I mean, in that I'm just trying to think about it because I thought that I was raised to be curious, but then as you're listing the kind of work hard, get good grades, get into that was also how I was raised. So maybe I wasn't as curious as I thought I was. Um,
Mm,
I believe I have a healthy level of curiosity now as an adult, and maybe not wildly curious, but I'm really interested in things that I don't understand, and I'll research them and try and figure things out that I don't know about. One of the examples I can think of is ChatGPT. A few people I've spoken to recently, when I've mentioned that we sometimes use ChatGPT to discuss one of our episodes or to help us with writing something up or whatever, they say, "Oh, ChatGPT scares me." Like, and I
mm,
just think that that was maybe my initial reaction when I first heard about it. And now I find it so entertaining and useful to use ChatGPT and to see what it comes up with. And I will ask questions about anything. So if someone asks me something and I don't know the answer, I'll ask ChatGPT and get an idea about it and figure it out and do a little bit of research around that. So um, yeah, I think the world needs to be more curious about things like AI.
what is the phrase that you heard 1,000 times when you were a kid about curiosity?
It killed the cat.
Killed the cat.
Yes. So I think
Exactly.
just when we started recording our first episode, you sent out an I've been thinking email and you mentioned that curiosity didn't kill the cat.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Anyway, so as I say, that was very high on my list
Yeah.
of just practical things that I think would have helped. And we've covered finance. The other thing that I think basic home repairs.
That just makes me laugh because it's so relevant to my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I, th- I think just basic skills about
Yeah.
how do you change a plug?
Yeah.
How do you just the basics about electricity, the basics about plumbing.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to feel guilty about not teaching your kids that because now they can just go onto ChatGPT or Google and ask, "How do I change a plug?" and they'll know in seconds.
Yes, but I don't know. Maybe this links to the curiosity thing
Yeah.
as well. I don't know. So I use basic electrical and basic plumbing, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. Um, but there is I don't know how to grow strawberries
Yeah.
or potatoes or whatever.
Yeah.
There's so many of these basic skills um, that I think would just be handy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever find yourself in a situation. I mean, I suppose you could also go a little bit further and say basic survival skills.
Yeah. Or how to put petrol
Or
in your car.
correct. Um, yeah, so there's a number of those things,
Yeah.
and I've got as a separate item here on my list. I've got cooking. Now, that is something that I definitely was taught, not in a formal sense or whatever, but just because you know 99% of our meals were home cooked meals, and there was always activity, and we were always roped in to help in the kitchen,
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. So from the basics right through to cakes and biscuits and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
It was never that foreign to me. But I do think, um, I actually look at my children and they also enjoy cooking. Um, and it's not like they're helpless when it comes to that. But I do encounter quite a lot of people who is almost scared of
Yeah.
making toast.
Yes.
um, and I think, yeah, for me, I see it as a creative outlet as well.
Yeah. No, I also enjoy cooking. That's a big one for me, and that's something that my mom also taught me. She was always in the kitchen making things. She liked entertaining and making food for people and feeding them. So I got that.
Yeah, so I'm not saying listen, don't ever buy a ready
Microwave meal.
meal or any of those things and so on. But I just think of the just the ability to take a few ingredients. As I said, I kind of view that as a creative exercise as well.
Yeah.
Um, I much prefer that to something like painting because I can't eat the painting. If you make something, you can enjoy it, and you can share it.
Yeah.
And for
And
me,
you can
that's
experiment a little bit, which is always quite fun, and try something different.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Even if you buy a ready-made or a microwave meal, there are ways to kind of take it up a notch.
Yeah.
If you understand basic things and basic flavors and that sort of thing. Anyway, so I do think in general that is a skill that most people lack.
Yeah.
And then the last one I've got here on my list is self-defense.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's not just country based, I think. That's probably something that everyone should know.
no, no, I
Yeah.
think it's something that everyone should know. I mean, it is obviously in kind of times that we're living now, it is probably more important. But again, I think that um, self-defense, over and above the ability to defend yourself in certain situations, etc., I think it also helps build confidence,
Yeah.
and not in a negative way of, well, if I don't agree with you, at least I can slap you. Not in that kind of way, but in terms of knowing how to stand your ground or how to get out of a situation. Um, so I think self-defense is quite important.
Yeah.
And I think definitely um, for females, probably more important.
Yeah.
And I don't think enough attention is paid to that, or I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people are doing. No, they're not.
I don't know. I know when I was in school, I'm trying to remember if it was junior or high school. I went to an all girls school and they did bring in, like, for an assembly or something, someone who could teach you some basic self defense
Yes,
moves, things you could do. Or so I think that in some contexts, people are being taught basic self defense. But I went to
I,
a very good school, so
well, you
yeah,
see, one of the things is our reliance on school to teach our
teach.
children
I
certain
know.
things and so on, versus the um, the things that belong in the family.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, and you haven't mentioned it, but I know one of your other things was about kind of health and wellness. So that was one that I did want to say that my parents,
Mm,
when we were younger, were a family of five, and it was pre Virgin Active Health and Racket Club. We had a lifetime membership, 40-year
hmm
membership with Health and Racket Club, which obviously disappeared when they disappeared. But I do remember going to gym with my parents when I was very young, 3 or 4 years old. So understanding that whole health thing. That said, I wouldn't say that I was raised to have the healthiest relationship with food, um, and with my body confidence. So those have been things that I kind of do wish that I had been given a better, I don't know, just a better understanding of my body and food and body confidence and nutrition. Um, and I'm also very aware of it. I mention her often, my niece. I'm very aware of the words that I use when I talk to her about food and health, and I try to be careful about what I say because I think, especially as women, again, we will talk about our weight in a negative way, or we'll talk about our bodies in a negative way in front of young impressionable children. Um,
mm.
and yeah, I do worry about, like, I don't know, teaching children that uh, yeah, I don't know, that certain things are not good. I don't know.
Yeah. So look, that's definitely something that I would not in this day and age, I would not leave up to the school system
Yeah,
or anybody else, because uh, here we are saying, well, geez, we've been lied to about the food pyramid and what is actually good for you and what is actually bad for you, etc., etc. And you look at kind of BMI indexes around the world and the number of people that are classified as obese and all the health, etc., etc. And certainly, in my opinion, you can't leave that up to the school system or the education. And as technology improves, we just learn so much
mm,
constantly about health and about how our bodies function, etc., etc.
yeah,
And that is definitely something that I think belongs with each individual, and definitely more so if you have children.
yeah.
to make sure that you are in charge of what they are taught and what they believe. A very, very important one. Um, the oh, just escaped my mind while we were talking. There was something else that popped into my head that I forgot to put on my list. Um, do you have any specific ones that we haven't touched on yet, which you think would have been handy if you were? I mean, it's easy to add things like reading,
Yeah.
the value of reading, the value of reading um, current and also old.
Yeah.
Can talk about the value of appreciating music, whatever genre it is, etc. But basic things about music, etc. So um, I don't know. Music was just always music. Um, However, there was an attempt to learn to play the piano when I was young.
Same.
But if I think back now, if my piano teacher maybe presented it slightly differently and the importance of why I must sit and learn my scales,
Yeah.
etc., those things could have been more fun activities, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, I don't mean to make it sound like I'm just criticizing. Not at all.
Yeah.
Um, it is just kind of like these things that I have become aware of, where I feel like, okay, cool, maybe my life could have been, I don't know, richer, or I could have had a better appreciation. I'm going through a bit of a thing at the moment where Sunday mornings has become my classical music appreciation morning. So just listening to some Beethoven and some Bach and some Chopin and whoever, um, and actually spending time listening to these guys um, and appreciating what they did. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
That sounds fun.
It is fun. I mean, and I listen to it, from a context of somebody who loves rock and who
Yeah.
loves heavy metal. So, and I think to myself, man, if Mozart had amps
And
and
electric
pedals,
guitars.
he would have been a phenomenal, because you listen to this music, etc. I actually started watching some YouTube channels, with people kind of explaining certain things about some of the famous pieces and so on. And I find it fascinating. So it is quite a fun activity. I can highly recommend it for
Yeah.
anyone. Uh,
I'm trying to think. I can't think of anything else.
well,
I mean, there's
hopefully,
lots of things. I,
no, no.
I was,
The
yeah.
concept and the idea was just to kind of think about these things. You know, all of the things that are on my list, um, except for self-defense, I haven't given that a go yet. But all of the other things, I have definitely spent some time and
Yeah.
acquired some skills
As
and
an
some
adult.
knowledge, and a lot of it is kind of like the ongoing process for me.
Yeah.
And you find that the more you understand it, the more enjoyable it becomes. The um, the more empowered you feel. Um, and I I look at younger people, um, even down to kids growing up. It is kind of that that inborn curiosity, etc., that are there, in 2 and 3 and 4 year olds. Um, and then at some point it changes.
Yeah.
Once you've been told enough times, don't do this, don't do that, don't
Or
try
stop
that,
asking
don't.
so many questions. Yeah.
Correct. And so on. And then it changes, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will keep adding to my list if I come across any others. And as I say, for me, it's kind of like, well, it's part of my journey in terms of things that I can acquire some knowledge or understanding of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think one of the nice things to look at is that we can always change, we can always improve and change what we weren't taught when we were younger. Um, we can keep learning until the day we die. So I think that that's a positive to take from this. That even if your parents didn't teach you all the things that you wish you knew, at least we can change that now, and we can also teach our children, not me specifically, but the children of the future, things that we wish we had known when we were younger. Um, so then going back kind of to that Philip Larkin, this be the verse poem, or to teach your children well, it's kind of like you start to understand what you should be sharing that you weren't taught. Um, so it's an opportunity for improving the next generation, hopefully.
Yeah, not so much just improving, but empowering,
Yeah.
empowering the next generation, definitely.
Hopefully they'll be better than ours. There's lots of room for improvement.
There's lots of room, exactly.
Cool.
Thanks, Ali.
Thanks, Herman.